Hello, everybody. We are live. Today, I'm here with Linda Swindling, and this is so exciting for me because Linda is a amazing speaker, really thought-provoking author, and really an expert in negotiation. Linda is a recovering attorney, popular speaker, executive coach, strategic consultant. She also has a TEDx talk on the topic, Why the World Needs You to Ask Outrageously. And it's the subject of her newest book, Ask Outrageously, The Secret to Getting What You Really Want. And that's the topic we're going to be at least starting with today. So please help me welcome author, recovering attorney, go-to speaker on negotiation and negotiation change, Linda Swindling.
Hi, hey, Linda. Everyone. Hey, David. Hey, everyone.
So, Linda.
Yes.
Well, you know where this starts, right?
Yeah, it's like the game show where you have like 60 seconds, right, to answer questions or something.
Absolutely. So we're going to start with the 6 in 60. And I know this makes some people nervous, but only to make you a little bit more nervous, I want to say that you always seem confident. So I don't foresee this being an issue. So not that
challenge thrown. All right.
That might add a little bit. Okay. So are you ready for this?
I am not, but we're going to do it anyway.
Good answer. All right. 60 seconds for all 6 questions. And here we go. Linda, one critical thing most people misunderstand about negotiation. What is it?
Confidence. They're prepared, but they don't have the confidence to take the risk.
Nice. What is one thing that you would like to see stick around post-pandemic?
I like the reconnection with people who are important to you and valuing what you already have.
Great. One notable trait of your favorite boss of all time?
Listened and encouraged. So kind of a champion and saw some potential that you didn't see.
Great answer. You are the author of Ask Outrageously. If you were given 3 wishes, what would they be?
Ooh, more wishes. Health and safety for my family and my friends and, everybody, but especially them. And I'd like politicians to start getting along and start problem solving and actually representing us.
Imagine that.
All parties everywhere. Yeah.
If someone were visiting Dallas for the weekend, what's one thing they need to do?
Oh my gosh, we have to go have fajitas, and then you're going to turn around and the next day have chicken fried steak. Or cool. If you're a vegetable eater, we'll do fajitas.
That was just a selfish question because I'll be there next week.
I know.
And final question. You're a mom. When negotiating at home, who wins? You or your kids?
Oh, the kids. The kids. They're the master negotiators.
Not surprised by that answer. They probably know all your tricks, isn't that right?
Oh, so, yeah. And they know all our buttons because they installed them. You've heard that joke before, right? They know how to
I love that
because they installed them. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So I haven't heard that before, but I love it. So okay, so Linda, we need to start with your origin story because working a lot in burnout, I know a lot of people who describe themselves as recovering attorneys.
Right.
So tell us your story. How did you get here? How did you become the negotiation expert?
Sure. I ran out of careers in undergrad, and I finally settled on news, broadcast journalism, and did a little of that and went, oh, that's not it. And I went ahead and went on to law school, which was great training. Now, I worked for 10 years as a corporate attorney doing insurance, employment, corporate things, and it's a lot of negotiation, a lot of litigation. And hired a business coach. And I know you have several children there, David. I just had my first one. And like a lot of people, then it's more balancing. And I hired a business coach a year in to having the first child. And all of a sudden we worked together for a year, got me to be in a partnership status and explore some different things. And she finally looked at me and she said, "You're not happy. What makes you happy out of what you do?" And I said, well, I love to negotiate. I love to help people, the big help people, which is the bad question. And then I said, and I love to present. these handbooks, this training. She said, "Do you like to write them?" And I said, "Well, and she goes, "So you can make a living, presenting on something you do well." And I didn't know, it's like a lot of people, I didn't know negotiation was something that people needed more of. And
Yeah.
I didn't know that they needed more help in negotiating with their employees or their bosses or whoever. I just naturally did it like a lot of people do, and pulled on a lot of things that weren't taught in law school, like
Yeah.
hospitality. A lot of us had those crappy jobs, hospitality, or you worked at some sort of retail. And it's funny how those skill sets really do help you later.
Is negotiation different when you're talking about negotiating as an attorney? Is that different than the type of negotiation that somebody in hospitality, an HR manager in hospitality, or even a frontline employee might have to employ?
Buttoning it up might be a little different. How the contracts are. Can you do it on a handshake, or do you need to worry about the laws? But you think about HR and you think about hospitality, there's a lot of laws there. So how it looks at the end might be different. Right now, it's hard to get through to people, so that can be difficult. But other than that, really, I've negotiated multi-million-dollar cases, multi-million-dollar deals. I've negotiated at garage sales, flea markets, and that feeling of asking, that feeling of taking that risk, that's the same. Those same emotions, the thing that hold us back, just need to be practiced in safe places.
Interesting. So, like, what is that feeling? So I know that when I need to ask for something, I get very insecure and very nervous. At the same time, I grew up in the Orthodox Jewish community where chutzpah is like part of the culture, right?
Right.
Like almost another word for asking outrageously.
It
And
is.
it's one of those things that even being within that community, I never have had that and never have truly
Interesting.
understood it. Why do different people think about asking and negotiating differently, and what is that misunderstanding, if there is one?
Well, for many of us, we were raised to not ask for more, and
Right.
whether we had depression era parents or a cultural thing, or from different parts of the state or different parts of the world, we were taught, don't make people will see if you do something good. They'll offer you seconds if they have it or whatever it is.
Right.
And so it was almost trained in school. Think about it. What do we value? Even in grade school, following the rules,
Right.
staying in line, answering the question when they call on you. So all this, it's a lot of us are fearful that it's an interruption. And I know why people don't ask. I mean, I did the research. You and I know. I interviewed. Well, we did research and then interviewed people. Anyway, more than 1,200 responses, and the responses said, "This is why I don't ask." One, I might be embarrassed, which is a big one for a lot of us. I might not have the right words. I don't want to bother someone, bug them. And then the big one, I don't want to hear the word what?
No.
No. I don't want to
Yeah.
hear the word no. So would it help if I bulletproofed people on hearing the word no? Would that be of help?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
What do you all think in the chat? Whether you're coming to us live from LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you are, put in the chat how easy is it for you to ask outrageously? Put a Y if you have no problem negotiating, and an N if this is a big problem. That no, I don't like to ask outrageously. We want to know what you're thinking,
Yeah.
where you're coming from. But I think most of us could really benefit from being no proof. Is that what you called it?
Yeah. Yeah. A bulletproof against no. But let me tell you, too, what does outrageously mean? It means asking for a little extra, asking someone to take a little less. It means asking outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I'll bulletproof you against the no. Those of you who aren't driving, close your eyes, including you, David. You ready?
All right.
Listen to
Ready.
my words. No, you can't have that. No, that's ridiculous. No, what a crazy ask. No, no, no. Okay, open your eyes.
Mom, is that you?
I know,
Oh.
right? Pat yourself on the back.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah. Did you survive?
I survived that.
Right. Yeah. The thing is, if you're not hearing no, you're not asking for enough.
Yeah.
If you're not hearing no, you're not asking for enough. And so what's the next question when you hear no? I just heard you say no. Can you tell me about that? Because here's the thing, you'll never KNOW know why people don't ask. So I'm hearing people are saying, okay, so this is why I don't ask. What are they saying to us, David?
Right. So look at this. So Abigail and Stephen Asman says, I don't like asking for outrageous things. And then I see people ask those questions and it's often works. I think this is a great opening for you to share your Jay Leno story if you're open to it. Because I
Yeah.
read that story and I'm like, I have been there a million times. And it looks like exactly what the Asmans might have been facing.
Right. Well, it's exactly what you said, David. I went to the Jay Leno show. The audience taping was with a bunch of my friends. And I'd been told, Jay comes out after the comic and asks for questions from the audience. So I was aware of what's going to happen, right? And he came out and I shot my hand up, and guess who he chose first?
Was it you?
Me. He chose me first. And I said, I did the thing that I know some of your people are in hospitality and sales and HR. So this will sound very, very, very familiar. You ask the nice question or you make the nice statement. You get to the meat or the crap that you want to really get done. And then you close it with the nice. So it's the crap sandwich.
Yeah.
It's called different things. Yes. Right.
Yep.
So I asked the nice question to warm him up so I could go in for what I really wanted. And what I asked him was, hey, Jay, what's tough about your job? Knowing he would say, because you never asked the question, didn't, know what he was going to say in my mind. I knew he was going to say, oh, it's hard to stay, get excited every night. And it's hard because I have to meet all these people and keep them moving and learn all these jokes. That is not what Jay Leno said. Jay Leno did what Jay Leno should. He said, let's see, I get paid a lot of money, meet famous people, drive fancy cars. And before I could go in for what I really wanted, Jay said, you, ma'am, and went to someone totally else. And she stood up and asked the question that I wanted. And the question I wanted was, Jay, can I come down and have a picture with you? Yeah. And Jay said, absolutely. And as she's running down to get her picture, he goes back to me, sees my face, and he knows. And he says, that's what you really wanted, isn't it? And I nod and I start to get up and he does one of these. He said, well, she asked.
Wow.
And again, that's what Jay does. He's getting the jokes, getting the laughs. Everybody laughed, of course, right? That gave her time to get down. They took their picture. They left. So are you feeling a little sorry for me?
Yeah, I'm feeling mortified for you. And I'm feeling like that happens so often. And you really think like, well, that's not fair. And you kind of want to rip that other person apart. And they didn't do anything wrong. They did what you wanted to do. They
went with my first question. So here was the learning. First off, I got a big group picture later. And when you post this, I'll post a picture with all my friends. So I knew we were getting that at the end. The other thing, though, that I learned was if you want something and you're the first to spot it, you're aware of it, the very first thing you got to do is you've got to ask. Because if you don't, people don't know. And there's only one opportunity maybe, or only one big deal. And you and I aren't alone. There's some statistics on that too. A third of us have seen something big that we could have gotten if we had asked, and we didn't, and it went to someone else. So you're not alone in doing that. You spotted it. You didn't ask right then, and the promotion went to someone else. The work went to someone else. The date to prom went with someone else, because there was only one and we didn't ask.
Yeah. So growing up, I used to get in trouble with my father all the time, all of me and all of my siblings, for making assumptions, because we would talk ourselves out of asking the question. And I remember him always saying, well, why don't you just ask? How can you just assume? And unfortunately, we listen more to our mom, so I don't think we ever developed that ability to just ask outrageously.
Really?
But why do we talk ourselves out of it? It's this fear.
Again, we don't want to be embarrassed. We don't want to hear the word no. We don't want to put ourselves out there or bug somebody. We don't want something to happen to us. So the how do you overcome it is probably the thing that helped me the most, because I needed to ask big, not just for myself, but for my clients as an attorney. And I was raised with a mom that would ask for things, but I needed to be better at it. So I went to those garage sales, those flea markets, safe places where I could practice on strangers. I would go to a different neighborhood or two over before I would go garage selling or to the flea market or the grocery store. And I would actually, I don't lie very well, even with the last name of Swindling.
Yeah.
That's not it. Yeah. And my poker face doesn't work. Right. So what I have to do often is short myself. So I'll put like $20 in my pocket. Now there may be more money or a checkbook or a credit card somewhere else, but I've only got 20. I'd say I only have 20 on me. Would you take that for this thing that you've listed for 100? And if they said no, what did I get to do? I got to practice hearing no.
Yeah.
And I got to decide, is this something I really want or not? Right. So you practice all the time, because if that sensation's the thing, and you can go, oh, gosh, I felt so embarrassed asking for the manager. And I'll often ask for a manager in the store, and all the clerks will look over, all the people who are working will look over. And what I'll say to the manager is, I just had an excellent experience. David just not only found what I needed, he walked me over there, showed me where it was. There's not many people like him. I just wanted to let you know what a great person you have working for you.
Wow. In 2021, that's not what people are expecting.
Well, I know, right? There's a lot more complaining, a lot more, people that are frustrated. So one thing you can do is that just practice, practice, practice. And then I have an acronym that helps me. So what did this person say just now?
So the question here is, do you think you need to learn how to be more okay with rejection to become brave and ask those bold questions? So is it about that rote repetition, that practice that you were just speaking about? Is that the one way to do this?
It is. It's what are they saying no to? What are they rejecting? It's not me as a person. They don't know me, right? Or even if they do, they don't know my background and everything else. What they're rejecting is my proposal, my thing that I'm saying. So if I saw it was Juanita, if you're asking that question and people reject you, remember, you have to always hear the word no. Then you go to your next question. I heard you say no. You respect what they just said. Repeat it back. Can you walk me through it? Now, here's what you're going to find out. One, many of us know people who talk themselves out of things. Have you ever done that, David, when you're talking to a kid and go, yeah, you can't have that? Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Well, we did do something like that for your sister. Huh? Or, employee, we did, and they'll talk themselves into it just by asking that question. Can you, not why sounds like a teenager, but can you walk me through that? Yeah. Second, you might find out that they need to, KNOW, know something else. So you might find out, this happened to an engineer that I was working with. She had been denied promotion twice. And so she said, I don't get it. I've got the training experience. And I said, okay, what did you say after you found that out? She goes, I don't know, nothing. And I said, well, that's your homework, So she went back to her boss and said, boss, I don't get it. These 2 promotions have gone to other people. What's up? Can you walk me through it? The boss says, you don't have this license. Well, if she didn't, then she could go get it, right? She would know what she needed to do.
Right.
But what was interesting was she did. She had 2 higher than this requirement, but in the military, she had come out of the military, they called it something different. And she laughed and she said, I don't just have that. I've got this and this higher level. And you went, you're kidding me. And in 6 months, she was promoted twice.
Wow. They just need to clarify.
Yeah. Or, and here's the big one. I know some of your people are in sales, HR. You may find something like this. You ask, can you walk me through it? And you find out, I will never do this. I've never done it in the past. I'll never do it in the future. And all of a sudden now this one's off the table forever. I'm going to stop doing that. And I'm going to go ask about the 57 and a half other options I might have.
Right.
So that asking after you hear no is huge. It's huge. And I do have that ask acronym that may help you. Would you like that?
Yes. And then we're going to get to a question. We have another question.
Do a question. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do the question. And then we're going to go to ask. And then I've got a follow-up question for you too, because you're taking us everywhere. I'm loving this. And it seems like everybody is. So here's the question. So what about the ethical side? Like only saying you had $20 or is that just business? So in a negotiation, a lot of times you're saying, well, the bottom line I can do this for is X, or we don't really have the budget for that. And it's not always the truth.
Accurate. Yeah.
Right.
So in that situation, and I was true, I only have 20 on me was the only way I could, say I'm not going back to my credit card or my checkbook. But that said, ethics are probably, and trust, those are your biggest value. Those are the biggest things that you can bring to the table, your word, your bond. So yeah, you can't lie. But you could say, we really had planned on spending more like this. Our budget really, it's not going to exceed much more than what we're offering. And so you can say that ethically because it's true. You hadn't planned on it. This is what you came to the table with. And what you'll find is people go, well, let me think about it. Yesterday, somebody said, well, we had planned on spending this. And I said, my business model won't allow me to do it for that. I just can't do it. Maybe a virtual thing or something. And then she said, well, actually, I said, so do you have limitations? She said, well, actually, and it was 2.5 times more than she'd offered. And I said, I could do it for that, because I'm already going to be there. I'm down the street.
Right.
But sometimes you have to say no. You have to say no and say, I can't do it for that. What else could we do in the mix? So if you live in those questions, when in doubt, go to a question. When in doubt, ask a question to help you. So I will get to that acronym because I'll forget.
Okay, great. Yeah.
No matter what kind of stress you're under, no matter where you are, no matter what negotiation you're facing, whether it's with your kids or an angry person, an angry client, whether it's with an employee, you can always go to ask a question around these 3 things. A stands for aware. What am I aware of? What am I aware of? I'm aware I'm breathing heavy. I'm aware this person's spitting at me as they're yelling. Put that mask on. I'm aware their eyes got bigger. I'm aware they're using some words I don't know. What am I aware of? I'm aware I'm sitting in a chair right now. Whatever it is, this chair feels like this, whatever. And what that does is that's like an immediate stop for you. And you go into analytical mode instead of feeling mode. All of a sudden you get back into control. You'll see first responders do that. Ma'am, can you walk me through what happened? Where does it hurt? How are you feeling? What do you see when I hold up 3 fingers? They're asking for questions for information, but they're really asking for questions too to help you gain control so you can help them. The second on ask, ASK, is seek. So ask, seek, and then the last one will be no. So seek, what information do I need to seek? So I'm aware that someone's not real happy with me. What do I need to seek? I need to live in some questions and ask that person some questions so I can answer them. And then here's where we get stuck, David. All the smart people listening to you right now, they like to have the plan of action before they execute. We've been trained. Get the plan in place before you go to it.
Right.
Well, that's not going to work in most negotiations because you're not free to be present and ask for more and listen for better things if you don't think about, if your plan is all set, you're not going to be flexible enough to capitalize on other things. So all you have to know, K, is what's my next question? What's my next best step here? I don't have enough information. I know I need to take a break. I'm about to cry, scream, hit a wall, whatever. I know I need to take a break. That's fine. Right. I know I need to get back to them. I don't know if I'll have that information. I'll tell them I'll get back to them by 3 with whatever information I have, So if you just know what's next, what do I need to ask next, it takes a lot of burden off of you.
Yeah, and I love in that no piece that you're also acknowledging that it doesn't have to be settled right now. I think a lot of times when we go into that heated sort of negotiation and we're walking in asking for a raise or asking for something something big and the answer isn't immediately yes, we think we have to walk out of there with a yes or a no
Right.
instead of giving space.
Because, okay, that and on the reverse, if someone comes to you and they want you to solve the problem right then, or they want that raise right then, think about it. They've been thinking about their ask for months, maybe, right? They've been fed up or they've been wanting something for months. This is brand new material for you. So you have to give other people grace, but you also have to give yourself some grace and say, wow. And so the magic words are, and I'm sure many of your HR people use these, wow, I can tell you feel strongly about that or you think strongly about that. I can tell you've put a lot of work in asking and it's important to you. I don't have time to give you the answer you deserve, and I don't have the information right now to give you the answer that you deserve to this important question. Can we meet? Question, can we meet tomorrow at 3 or 5?
Yeah.
Now, what have you done? You've acknowledged them. What are they going to say? No, give me a half-baked answer right now.
Right.
And if they say, no, I have to have an answer right now, you can say, well, the answer right now is going to be no, because I don't even know what we're talking about.
Right.
And I want to think through it. And I value what you've just told me. And I want to respectfully come back. Most people are going to go, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. With the caveat being they need to come back. I know people who have left jobs because they felt like it was just, they were brushed off and they never got back to the conversation. And a lot of times, especially if you're dealing with a manager or somebody in HR, they have so much on their plate that this stuff can just be sort of lost without any sort of like they're not trying to sort of just brush you off. So I would imagine that actually having that follow-up meeting would build what you were talking about before, that trust.
Well, back to that, the trust. Can they depend on you? Because here's what's going to happen. Let's say you go back and the answer is no. You say, I did research it. I did look at it. The answer is no for right now. And I now know that you're interested in it. And that's really key. At least they know. So this promotion, this job, this opportunity isn't right now, but now they're processing what you really were interested in. And they will find a way many times to help you get something that's different.
So I want to take you back to something you said earlier on that I've been playing with up here. But you were talking about asking and negotiating for your clients as a lawyer and making huge deals and things like that. You took a step away from that life to then asking for yourself as a self-employed individual and a speaker who is literally selling themselves as sort of the service, right? Is there a difference there? Because a lot of times I find that HR professionals and managers can sell an issue when it's for the best of the organization or the best of their employees, but when they have to sell for themselves, it becomes something very different, much more personal.
No, exactly. 65% of us, we're not alone. 65% of us would rather ask for someone else. It is what it is. So how do you work around that? One is, who else would benefit? So if I ask for that extra time on vacation, my family benefits. If I ask for the raise, maybe we can get a better apartment. If I ask for the opportunity, even if I'm told no, my team gets to see me ask. If I ask the stupid question in the meeting, the group sees that it's okay to ask questions. Maybe it's that. The other thing, though, is how do you make it so that it's not about you and it's about the proposal you're giving at the time? And this is a trick that my friend Tim Durkin told me years ago. You make it about an inanimate object. So what I would do is I would write what my intention is. My intention is to ask to have this new client do all of their meetings with me. My ask is for people to only come and see me in the afternoons, because mornings when I'm really working hard, unless it's an emergency, I need to keep that free, whatever it is. So I write it down. Now then, I point to this. I want the behavior to change from an employee. I'm going to point to this. Dick Grote did this on performance appraisals. And I'm going to call it something, improving performance in dealing with clientele or whatever it is. And now it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about this thing, this proposal. And that takes it from being so personal. The other trick for those of you who really have to sell yourselves, whether it's internally or it's a business, one of the things you can think about is, what are your results? And if you don't know, that may be the first question is, well, how could you define what you've created, you've made? Have people ask and gotten more money for me? Have people ask and they now have a third the less emails? Whatever it is, can you measure it, right? If you don't know, you can ask your clients or the people who work with you. What's something tangible? Then the other thing is, are there people that you know in your role, or maybe in consulting like you and I do, David, and speaking, are there people that don't know as much as you do, are not going to provide the value you do? And most of the people that would take their time off from their day to listen to a podcast in order to get better, they're probably the kinds of people that are giving more to their clients too, or more to their people. It coincides real well. So if that's the case, if you don't ask, if you don't negotiate, if you don't put yourself out there, someone of lesser value, bringing not lesser value as a person, but that brings lesser value to a client or to a team, is going to get the work, because the work's there. Right. The work is always there. But someone who doesn't have your skill set is going to get it. And if you really do have integrity and you really are someone who's honest, it's actually doing your clients, your team, other employees a disservice if you don't put yourself out there and ask so that you can get the work and do a great job for them.
That's great. I love that. I love every word of that. Now, I want to move on to this moment in history that we find ourselves in. How have things changed? It seems like we are all sort of like going into our own echo chambers in many different ways. Depending on who you voted for in the last election, we can no longer talk. Depending on whether you're a employee in hospitality or management or leadership in hospitality, we can't talk anymore. We're talking right past each other. Are these fixable problems? Where do we go from here?
Yeah, sure. One thing for your hospitality folks, in a little bit, you're going to give them a link. There's some studies that we've done on hospitality and how things are recovering that you're welcome to go and get tools. Right. Here's the issue, and I'm getting a lot more reach outs than I used to about this particular topic. It was good several years back, and now it's really good now. A lot of people are complaining, and they're under stress, and they're acting badly. You and I were talking offline about superhero powers. Yeah. They're using their superhero powers for bad. Right. Which means, for evil, right? They're trying to get a need met that's not getting there. So one of the things that we have to concentrate on is talking individually with people about the stress they're going through and showing them that their behavior isn't working. That's one thing. The second thing, though, is people are in a protection mode right now. And so I'm having to go and work with teams, and sometimes virtually, which is really hard. A lot of times it's virtually, because I can't eavesdrop like I used to, right? But you have to help them recreate what the future is going to look like that they can control. And how are they going to mix and talk to each other? And there's a lot more collaboration activities that you would do now. So if you're in that situation, how can you mix up people to work together, to job share, do duties? Maybe, one person's great at presentations, one person's great at finding the research and supporting, or as an engineer, pop them together, have them work together, see the benefits in each other, and then mix again. So that's big right now. People are so uncertain. Now, here's the good thing. They are hungry right now for your help. They're hungry for your leadership. They're hungry for your mentoring. They're hungry to have a one-on-one. This is the time you do your stay interviews. This is the time you talk to people about, what are your aspirations? Because as many are exiting, they're exiting because they don't think they have anything else here at this company, here in your organization. you can talk to them about that. You can say, where I'm seeing you really, I would love during this time for you to focus on this, and you can help them and mentor them.
Right. That's really valuable information, because it seems like this problem is just getting worse. And I like your emphasis on speaking with the individual, because I think a lot of times we're not seeing the humanity in the individual. It's much easier and especially when you have that screen between you,
Sure.
and that screen, by the way, when you pull up Facebook, is telling you that the individual is this group of evil people instead of people,
Well,
right?
and we're interrupting them, right? One of the things we talked about early in the meeting, people were saying, "I'm just exhausted with meetings." Well, don't have so many,
Yeah.
and have shorter ones. You can get more done since we're virtual. We're all right there. Have new rules. Everybody has to come on, or maybe this is a non-camera one, or whatever it is. But I'm suggesting that people start the meetings 5 minutes after, because think about it. Everybody's kind of rolling in, getting into it. They have the technical problems. They're leaving another meeting 5 minutes after, and trying to stop 15 or 10 minutes before an hour. So do your 45 minutes meetings instead of hour meetings. You'll get as much done, maybe more.
Yeah.
And give them that extra 10 to 15 minutes to solve the problem, go to the bathroom, get caffeinated, whatever, take the dog out, whatever they need to do so they can come back on strong. But think about it. All of those are strategic negotiations. What am I aware of? People aren't showing up for meetings. They're not happy. What kind of information do I need to seek? Okay. What do I need to know to go next? Well, I probably need to get some people together to help me solve this, or maybe I need to have, less meetings or whatever. But all you have to do is think strategically, what do I want to change? Now, how do I do it?
Right. And you talk a lot about change through the focus of negotiation. And so much of what's happening right now is change. And I know that you and I and every consultant that works with people, like, all we deal with is change. Because if things aren't
Right.
changing, then nothing, they're not
Right.
calling us. So why is change such a key factor in negotiation? How do you use negotiation skills in order to promote change?
Right. Well, again, most of us don't like change because we feel out of control.
Hmm.
Control's a big deal for a lot of people, especially professionals, especially people, again, that are trying to listen to podcasts or trying to better themselves. It just is.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those key things. So if that's the case, and you're trying to negotiate with others and get them to move along through the change, we do a disservice, because a lot of us in leadership will say, okay, this is where we are, and now we're going to go to this high, new, fast paced, great company. We're going to merge. We're going to change your boss. Now you're going to live somewhere else, whatever it is. Go do. And it's not real. And a lot of people in business in our profession know about the J curve of change. So what happens is there's going to be a dip. There's going to be a dip in productivity. There's going to be a dip in communications. To go from where you are present and get to where you need to be, you've got to negotiate. And that word's key. What you chose was negotiate, as opposed to navigate. Navigate's like, I'm going to try to dodge the ball, or I'm going to try to come after the things. No. What can we figure out? What are we aware of right now? What are we aware of might happen along this dip? This J, the bottom part of that curve. What else do we need to ask for, so that as we're going, we go, look, wow, this came 5 minutes into this. We thought it'd be 5 days. Wow, we haven't seen this thing. We thought a month in, we'd see it. We're 3 months in. Where is this? And so now you're asking questions, and you're negotiating through even the milestones that are bad, because you can anticipate a lot of what's going to happen and change just from past, or just imagine. And that's how we negotiate. We keep it practical. We keep people engaged by asking questions. We're always seeking what's next. People know solutions. We just need to ask them.
Right. And I love that focus on collaboration. That's so key, because oftentimes as leaders, we enter the world of change after doing all of our research and seeking all that information, but not from the other perspective. right? So we sort of miss that piece. And then we think, all right, we put in all the work, we understand how this is going to go, and then we roll it out instead of understanding that it's this collaborative process that everybody needs to be involved in.
You're going to get their feedback. Now, do you want to manage it and get it up front? Or do you want to get it by them leaving and not showing up and being sick and everything else? The other thing is, and this is kind of old. Everybody knows WIIFM. It's a radio station. It's playing all the time, stereo, WIIFM, which stands for what's in it for me, right? The secret in negotiations is really just turning that dial, tuning it in to what's in it for them. So when I'm doing big sales, like a big presentation, tech company or engineers or somebody in sales wants to really hit a lot of different targets and they have a lot of different stakeholders, I'll even have them print out the logos and we'll flip chart it around or we'll put them on different screens and we'll write what's in it for them. How would that look for them? What would they want? Why, what are the good business reasons to do business with us? Right. What are the good reasons that they might not, and we'll figure them out because then it's what's in it for them. And we can start really asking good questions and building relationships and saying, here's some ideas, or here's some things I think you might be interested in, or I've got some reasons why you might be interested in this. Can you tell me why? What's the good reason we're having this conversation?
And maybe this ties into the answer to this, but we talked a lot about the need to be flexible, but what about when we're flexible and we've done all of the things and we've gotten used to getting no's and we've sought out information from others and thought about what's in it for them. But what happens when we hit that roadblock where we're dealing with an inflexible person? So let's say if we don't have the power, like you said with change, we want to have the power or want to have control to a certain extent. What if we don't feel like we have control because the CEO won't listen to us? A lot of times in HR, that's an issue. Where HR doesn't get that seat at the table way too often. If you're an employee looking for a raise and your boss is not being flexible with you or giving you answers, at some point do you walk away? And what are the steps that you can take before you walk away from that? How do you deal with that?
So you asked for a couple of things. Let's do the raise first because that's the easiest. We have a lot of people that say, well, I've been here 3 years. I deserve this much raise. No, when you accepted that paycheck or that money into your bank account, you said, the work that I've performed, this is a good amount of money to pay me. Our deal's closed, right? So how do you build on that? What you say is, just like I've done these things for the last 3 years, these are the things I want to do in the future. This is where I want to put in, and in doing that, it deserves this amount of pay. And you do your research and So yes, some people do have to leave, but a lot of times your boss or whoever the person is that's doing the entity, if they have the money, that's the big thing. A lot of times they don't, you have to wait a half a year till the big contract deal seals the deal or whatever. Right. But if they have the money, they need words to say. So you're going to help them and get the words, right?
Yeah.
Now, what about the CEO? Well, people go to the CEO all the time because they think, the CEOs have the power, right? Well, think about a CEO as having a big funnel and all the questions, all these things are coming at the CEO or the chief decision maker. First off, if a CEO or chief decision maker is listening to you, they're giving you the most valuable thing they have, which is what? Not money. What is it?
Time,
because they have limited amount of times. The other thing is, a lot of us, when we hear, well, what are you in my office for? What are you doing? And you think, well, I've been here 5 times on the same project and you told me to do these things and now I'm reporting back. And the CEO is like, what are you doing? What's going on? Give me the bottom point. The reason why CEOs do that, and I've worked with them for 5 years exclusively, one-on-ones, coaching, is they use questions to narrow what falls through that funnel so they can address it. So what am I doing? Well, just like we talked about last week, I have these 3 clients. I'm trying to figure out what we do to remediate this, what we do to have this happen. And I'm fairly certain I've got a path here, but I want to see if you poke any holes in it. Okay. And you plan time with them. And this is with your boss or maybe as a decision maker. Now, why in the world would you go to the CEO about something that doesn't really concern the CEO? I don't know. People do, right? What I would do if I wanted a seat at the table is I'd start being of value to the people that are at the table. So the next conference I go to, next HR conference I went to, I would go and I'd say, hey, marketing director, hey, VP, hey, chief of whatever, whatever your title is in your company, I'm about to go to this. They had a couple of speakers. Is there something I need to be listening for? Is there something you need me to bring back? Hey, operations person, chief decision maker for operations. What is it that I need to be bringing back to you, COO, or whoever you are? What is it I need to be bringing back? And they go, oh. Or you go and you do an assessment. You go and say, hey, I've noticed that I haven't seen anybody from the engineering team. Mm-hmm. Can I ask you a couple of questions about that? What are you trying to develop? What are you trying to do? Where are they lacking? All those good questions you have. And if you're internal and that's what you're trying to do is get a seat at the table, start being of value to the people and say, our next meeting, I could present that for everybody. Or if you'd like me to send it on, I can say, David asked me to send it to everybody. That's fine. I can help you. Tell me how I can help you. Be more of a partner and a problem solver to them.
I love that. That's very similar to anybody that's ever worked for me that's asked me for to make them a manager. I always told them my go-to answer was be a leader, and then I'll give you the title. Like right. It's going to work in that way.
Okay, but David, you're aware, and not everybody's aware. So sometimes, if you do want a seat at the table, you can go to those people and say, "I'd like a seat at the table. I'm seeing all this at the end of the river, at the end of the results, because I didn't tell you all up front about this one rule that could change everything. Recruiting."
Right.
No, you can't go outside our policies. This is why we get sued. No, right. We're not going to do that. Right. But don't be the no person. And that's where it's hard as HR. I practice employment law. It is so hard not to be the mom, the dad, the parental, the teacher saying, no. Right. You say, if you can just stop yourself and say, tell me what you're trying to accomplish, and let's see if we can do it inside the law. Yeah. That'll save you a ton of time. And I know your HR professionals, you're getting that all the time. Don't say no. Say, tell me what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, what else do you want? What else do you want? And then say to them, let me get back to you. And you think about it and think about, we can't do it that way. And I found a way we could do this thing, which would protect you on this thing that you're concerned about.
Yeah. That gets into sort of position versus interest. The little bit I know about negotiation, I know that there's definitely a difference there, and that saved me a million times. That sometimes what people are asking for isn't what they actually want. It goes deeper than that.
Right, and we may not have the right words. I can remember, one of my clients, I said, well, this is going to be transformational change. It'll be great. And the whole table went, oh no. And I said, what I say wrong? Which part of this? And I said, the change. I said, no, we change all the time. Transformation. And I went, tell me more about that. And they said, well, transformation means there's going to be layoffs. So a lot of times it's just our languaging. So when you hear something, say, can you tell me what you mean when you say this word? And we don't want to look stupid. Well, who cares? Now, all of a sudden, the transformation went out of that conversation really fast, right? And we went into, what would a positive change look like? What would, but you have to know the words. And and do not feel like you're being stupid by saying, can you walk me through what you mean by that? Because you might be calling it something else. You probably are.
Full disclosure, I never realized like this was a thing that you do purposefully, but you have definitely used that on me before. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? And I can tell you that when you've asked me those things, it sort of calls my attention to, what did I mean about that? So it's not just you that needs to know more about that. It calls it out so that I can investigate what I mean. And it's an incredibly valuable tool. I've noticed it in past conversations with you.
It's that aware, right?
Yeah.
I'm helping you be aware of what you want, and I'm seeking information. I'm on the S. I'm helping you be aware so you can seek what I can do to help. Most of us have the answers in ourselves. Most of us have an idea. but we just have to be asked questions. And I'll give the big bonus to this one is the 2 questions you need to know most. This will save you hours and hours and hours, days and days and days of coaching training is what and how. What does that look like? How is that? What would you see? If you hit it out of the park, what would that be like? Just the what and how. I heard you yell at me. What is that about? How did you come to that conclusion? If you can live in what and how, if you can remember nothing else but ask, I got to be aware, seek, no, where am I on this? Okay, I don't know what to ask them, but I am aware. So I'm going to say, how did this happen? Or I was not aware of this. What is going on?
Right.
If you can do those, you can live through anything.
Yeah.
You can negotiate anything.
And the process seems much more objective and less emotional. And I guess working those muscles of getting all those no's is part of that process as well.
And there's going to be jerks. There's going to be people that you will not have to deal with, that you will never have to deal with. So what do? Well, if it's a different company, you find somebody else that you can work around, maybe, or you go to a different company, right? And you go pitch it to a different company. If it's internal, who can you help? If you can't help that person, who is it that you can help that you can provide value for?
Yeah. Well, this has been amazing. I'm ready to ask outrageously, but
yes, I double dog dare you. Ask 3 times. Ask 3 times before the end of the week. Ask for something a little bit bigger. Ask someone to take a little bit less. Let me know how it goes.
I will. I will check in with you. Now, everybody, whether you're watching live or watching this recorded version, definitely let us know. Do this. Ask outrageously 3 times.
By Friday at 5.
Leave only $20 in your wallet, or however you want to do it.
Personal. Do 2 at work. Do 2 with clients. Do 2 there. 1 personal, but 2 that are a little stretch at work. A little stretch in your business.
I love it. All right, we're gonna get to cold calling today then. But I think that you really gave us the tools here to be able to do all of that. I am going to ask everybody outrageously to stay in touch with you because of the incredible value that you were able to bring us in just under an hour. Every time I speak to Linda, even when it's not in one of these formal settings, I walk away with so much value. If you take your phone and you scan it over Linda's QR code up there, that will take you to her LinkedIn, right? The LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, and I'll accept anybody that was on this area, just LinkedIn. And then, I see you also have the text thing.
Yeah, please.
I'm giving you what I give my clients. These are resources. I've got a big website, lindaswindling.com. You can go hunt around, or you can do the easy way, which you text 42828. So that's the number. And then you just put ASK in that message, hit send. And then if your phone won't allow you to text, or if you are international, I developed a website. It's called negotiate.today. Negotiate.today. You can go there and do the same thing. That'll give you some tools. It'll give you a couple of free assessments, teach you how well you ask. And you're welcome to use all of that. Again, I developed it for my clients, and I'm giving it to you, David, because you're a dear friend. Thank you.
This is amazing. Thank you so much. And I know that your website is pouring over with resources. I'm quite jealous of that. So we're going to be right back to thank you again. But I want to let everybody know that if you enjoyed this conversation, next Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be visited by Jerry Bowling. Dr. Bowling is an expert in bullying up, or upward bullying. You are going to want to check this out. This is, we sort of have this, just by accident almost, this series of talks that are dealing with similar sorts of getting comfortable with conflict and getting comfortable with negotiating and asking. And a part of that is recognizing that bullying can go 2 different ways, especially now. And he literally wrote the paper on it. So I really hope that you all can catch us next week when we talk to Dr. Bowling. Thank you all so much for being here today. Please reach out to Linda. Reach out to me as well. We should stay connected, and we will talk to you next time. Thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you so much, David. Enjoyed it.